If you look at Imam Khomeini's ideology, you would notice that to establish a political system in Iran was not the most important achievement that he wanted out of his life. We all know about the strength of Iran that is showing now after so many years. It's always been there, such a huge power, but to develop that power to bring about the Islamic revolution, although it might come to us as the biggest achievement of Imam Khomeini's life, but that's not really what he was after. That's not the main thing he was after. It was a byproduct of something that he was after. It was something that was like a gift that was given to him for striving on the path of something. And that is what Imam was obsessed with. It didn't really matter to him whether the Islamic revolution came or not, although obviously he assiduously worked so hard for it, and you know um, it was he was faced with the challenges of the Islamic revolution in its own. He was on a spiritual journey. He was after getting. He was after God. He was after. He wanted to get closer to God in actual terms. Not like us. We try to get closer to God through these simple, I don't know, acts of worship or you know s- stuff like that. Maybe learning about religion, um, striving for religion, giving zakat and khums and whatnot, stuff like that. But the way he was after God is totally different from what we perceive. His whole journey was Sayru Suluk. His whole journey was Tazkiyah. If you look at his speeches and read some of his books, he says worshipping is not important. Like, even knowing about spirituality is not important. Being a philosopher, having knowledge, none of that is as important as Tazkiyah philosophy. Actually practicing that, even to know even more of philosophy, ilm Ikhlaq even is not. It, Imam Khomeini would say it would take you to hell. Stuff that we do that we think will take us to heaven and would take us closer to God, Imam would say that those things, that stuff, may very well take you to hell. So what do you think? For example, his opinion would have been on politics. For example, is is being part of a political system that important? You know, Imam is saying even ilm Ikhlaq will take you to hell. Irfan will take you to hell. Okay, ilm Irfan will take you to hell. So, just to be part of a political system would take us to heaven. It might, obviously, in the rudimentary sense, but the way Imam would look at the world is that if you are not pure, if your nafs is not pure, nothing else matters. Imam's stance was obviously, you could say extreme, but for him it was how things were supposed to be. For him, for Imam, Tazkiyah was the most important thing. Self-purification is what I mean by Tazkiyah. To even understand what Imam Khomeini Rahmatullah alayh has said in his words, in his books, even to just understand that, let alone follow that, be able to follow that, be able to, follow his footsteps, which is a huge deal. Just to even understand the stuff that he was obsessed with, stuff that he was after, stuff that he said in his books. You need to be somewhere else within your within your nafs. You cannot understand anything that he has said by being like you and me in normal life, in normal frame of mind. When we're normally, just socializing with people and, just being who we are, hating things, loving things, being a little bit jealous, being a little bit grudgy, I don't know, keeping a little bit grudge about someone, um, lying a little bit, lying to ourselves, let alone our connection with God. What is our connection with God? Have you ever thought about it? Our connection with God is negligible from what Imam Khomeini would have wanted to see as normal connection to God. We are way below par. What is our relationship with God? What is our moral relationship with God? We do practice Ikhlaq, we try to be better with other people in social circles. We try to be better with people, right? What is our Ikhlaq with God? What is our level of purity of intention, for example? What is our level of ikhlas? What is our level of dedication to God? I mean, we live in a social economy, okay, or economic society, whatever you want to call it. Our connection with people is based on interest, right? Our motivation to connect to someone is based on, for example, monetary means, for example, monetary gains that we think that we can get, or having social capital, or knowing the higher ups is something that we want to achieve. We want to know better people, and we want them to know us so that we can get the benefits all the time, right? So we're after benefits when we look at people. Well, there might be like real love out there somewhere, moments of real love, maybe a mother loving a child, for example, sure. But God, obviously, our connection with God is supposed to be deeper than our unconditional love for our mothers or brothers or sisters or sons or daughters. Are we anywhere near that? Obviously not most. At best, our relationship with God may be about benefits, okay? And we don't know anything about our connection with God. We don't know anything about the concept of morality in connection with God, the purity of intention. Innama a'malu bin. We hear this hadith all the time. But what is intention? What is the purity of intention? A lot of Imam Khomeini's work is about that.